Okay. Yes. Well, it's quite well known. It's one of the most known sutta in the Pāli Canon, together with Satipatthana and something similar, Ānāpānassatisutta, but it's also in our chanting book, and it's also nice chanting. So I decided to learn by heart, and also to try to translate not all the sutta, but I just did what I could to translate the chanting mainly. And yes, we also then added some sort of the beginning to explain what was happening a little bit. There is something more than the chanting book, because we to give a frame. But also there is the frame is quite actually is quite interesting. Also, what I call the frame, because either that knowing that they are in Savatthi, there are many other really interesting things. So it's a sutta that could take easily, speaking about the sutta, months, because other than the part in which the Buddha explained in the practice of Ānāpānassati, then there is all the part of before and after, in which he explained the enlightenment factor and other things. Also, but this is outside. I think it's too much.
Yes, we'll see how much we can discuss that. But something I also want to point out is that you prepared an Anki deck to practice the vocabulary, isn't it? So if anyone's using Anki and want to import this deck here linked in you'll find it on the Pāli Readings website. Then that can be helpful to practice memorizing the sutta.
I found Anki really helpful for memorize things in general. I use it also for the Thai. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know. We can start.
Please invite somebody to read the first few lines.
Okay, I cannot see. There is someone that want to start with the first line with the frame. Actually, it will tell us where the Buddha and his disciple, where the sutta is set. Someone want to start, or I just call?
I do.
Ajahn Congress, please. Do you like to?
Yes.
No. Okay, thank you. Please.
Ānāpānassatisutta. Evam me sutang ekang samayang bhagava savatiyang viharati upharame mikarama thupasade sam pa hulehi apinyatehi terehi savakehi satting.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So there is the classical, the usual intro of the sutta. Evam me suttam. I think we probably already found a lot of time.
Thus I heard. This by me heard. Suttam.
Yeah. It's idiomatic. And then ekan samayam. It's another idiomatic expression. You can say one occasion, because actually literally is like the translation is ekam is one, or single, or something similar. So samayam means actually occasion, time, something similar, and yeah. So on one occasion, and there is where so the verb we usually you can check the where is the verb viharati. So viharati it's the third person singular, so it's a present. And but this is a I don't know if it's correct, Ajan. We can call historical present because even if he's speaking his present tense, usually at least also in Italian we translate like yeah.
He was living there. He is living there.
Yeah.
It's a way of telling a story.
Yeah. Historical present. They use the present in Pali, but also in Italian. I think I don't know if in English it's the same. But then you meant for something that already to happen in the past. So the Bhagawa was living. Was living where Savatiyam. It's the name of a place. Savatiyam is probably feminine, and it's
that's right. Savati is feminine.
It's a locative singular. So where the Buddha was living in Savatthi, and then there are other. It's a string of I don't know, it's a string of locative. So they are all locative. Pubarame, Migara, Matu, Pasade, and Savatthi. Savatthi is the name of the city. And then the other one are locative, so they go together. We have to find a way in English or in Italian to say something that the Buddha was living in Savatthi. Pubarame, Arame is a dwelling, but is also a name, I think, of a place. Pubba, Eastern was Eastern, yeah. It's composed Pubba Eastern in the Eastern monastery. That is Migara Matu Pasada. This is another compound. Migara mother.
The whole of Migara's, the whole of the mother of Migara, right?
Matu is I put a note in the mind. Matu, it's a class of Matu like Matar, Pitar. It's a class of noun that used to meant relation between people. And if you have a look how they are, the declension is interesting because they all have more or less the same declension. They are irregular respect to the other, but it's all a class of noun that meant to that speak about a relation, father, mother, and brother. The same sort of declension, irregular. And it's interesting that I was thinking about these things, that in Thai they use this word to mean the same thing. Like it's quite unusual, but they say mata bida to mean father and mother. For example, mata bida, it's clearly from the Pali matar pita. And then sambaule, sambaula means a lot.
All these are instrumentals here.
Yeah.
Because they go together with sadding, right?
Yeah. Sadim is used like saha and sadim. They are used to how to call not prefix like it's indeclinable, that they are used with the instrumental. So sadim and sa. If you find sadim or sa, usually you can find instrumental like this: sambolei, abignatei, terei, savakei. So together with a lot or a number of Savake is disciple. Tere is come from Terra. So senior disciple, we can say, not old in the sense of age, but elder disciple, senior elder disciple. Abignatei, it's also interesting because it's completely the same word, and it's repeated because it's increase the, because means well known or famous, and famous, and repeating the things in Pali is also, you can find in also in Thai language. means that they are very well famous. They are not only famous, but a lot, very famous. And the same in Thai, for example. You say, how to say, for example, dek is children. If you say one children is dek, more than one children, they say dek. Or puan to say a lot of friends. Puan is friend, and puan is a lot of friend.
Aroy.
Aroy. Very good.
Very aroy.
Tasty. So all together, the sentence sounds like thus have I heard on one occasion the Bhagawa was dwelling in Savatthi in the Eastern monastery Migaro in the hall of the Migara mother, together with a lot of very well known senior disciple. Yeah. Then Ayasmata. The second one, someone want to Ayasmatacha Sariputena. This is a long. Actually, is just a list of the name of this very well known disciple. What we can say, for example, that is this cha repeated continuously. Ayasmatacha Sariputena, Ayasmatacha Mahamogalanena. They are all in instrumental. Yes, in instrumental because they go with yes, together with. But it's instrumental. Instrumental used also to say not only the things with whom we are doing something, but also to means that we are with someone. So sadim, there is something. Yeah, in the end. Yeah. And
Yes,
cha is
all these are connected with the setting at the end.
Cha. And also cha is used in this way also not only to mean and if, but also to means when there is a long list. In Pali they use cha. Like it's like a comma in this case we can say as mata sariputena and yes or the end list. And whatever asmata means venerable, if I'm correct. Asmata, it's a group of noun like Bhagawan, Asmant. These also have a irregular declination, but they are very used. So it's good to have a look to this sort of noun like Bhagawan, Asmant, and it can seems ayasmata can seems like plural nominative plural, but I think in this case it's just instrumental, and in the declension of ayasmant noun it's I can check, it's probably it's
It qualifies also just qualifying the person, so it's qualifying the different disciples. So it's going, because it's qualifying, it's going to follow in the same declension like the all other adjectives.
Then I don't know. Well, someone else want to try to read, and if someone want to also try
I'll
to.
continue from
Thank
here.
you.
This is a section I added to your notes here.
Okay.
Ānāpānassatisutta Bhagava Taduposate Pandarase Pavaranaya Punnaya Punnamaya Rattiya Bhikkhu Parivuto Abbokasani Sindo Hoti. So here we skip a part in the sutta, and at this point the sutta explains that what is at that time Ānāpānassatisutta, with that time the Blessed One Bhagavan, that, so this is a locative uposate for denoting the time. Tad, here you notice it or that. Tad aha uposate, that day being the uposata, the meaning here. Pannarase, so full moon of Pavaranaya, Punnaya, Punnamaya. The Pavarana full moon is complete. And this is all qualifying here the night, Rattiya. Rattiya in this female locative. you recognize the female locative from the Iya, and the other. So these are all this is the night of Pavarana full moon, and because they are all qualifying that night, then the case is also going to follow the noun that they qualify. And so at this night, so the significant thing is going to be here is that Pavarana is the 11th moon, Asayuja, and later we're going to talk about Kartika, which is the other moon. So at the Pavarana night, so they already spent the Vassa at the palace of the hall or palace of Megara's mother, and after the Vassa, this is when we are now, they have this large gathering, Bhikkhu Sangha Parivut, so large gathering, and the Blessed One, so the Blessed One is, he is Nisin no Hoti, so he is sitting, right? He is Hoti, Nisin no is sitting, Nisin no Hoti, Abbokase, out in the open, Bhikkhu Sangha Parivuta. Parivuta is surrounded, so he is surrounded by the Bhikkhu Sangha. And he tells the monks, in the sutta, in this point, he praises their practice, and he says that he's very pleased with how they are practicing, and that because the situation there is very conducive to cultivation. It's a good location, probably with enough solitude for all the bhikkhus, and he is pleased that the bhikkhus are diligent, and so he tells them that he's very pleased with this practice, and he ends that part with Idevahang savatiyang kumudim chatumasming agamessamiti. That ida eva ahang, so here I, in savati, kumudim chatumasing, so until the full moon of Kartika. Komudi is the name of the Kartika full moon, and he is going to wait or remain there. So Agameti is, you recognize the future from Agameti is the present, so he wait. We practice the verb forms the other day, so plus issa, agamessa, ami, agamessami, is that I will wait until the full moon of Komudi, which is in the month of Kartika. So he tells them that he's going to remain, so this is after the Vassa, and he tells everyone he's going to be here for another month. Okay, someone else would like to continue? Ajahn Gavesako, can I invite you to?
Okay. Te chanava bhikkhu tere hi bhikkhuhi ovadiyamana anusasyamana ularang ubbena parang visesam jananti. So those new monks, te chanava bhikkhu, so nava, new bhikkhus, junior bhikkhus, also called Navaka, but here is just Nava Bhikkhu, the new monks. Terehi Bhikkhuhi or Varyamana, being exhorted by the senior monks. So that's a instrumental. Terehi Bhikkhuhi means by the senior monks. So there would be Tera Bhikkhu, and an instrumental it's Terehi Bhikkhuhi. Yeah, senior monks. Ovadyamana. So this is what we call, they are being instructed. So ovadati means to exhort, to instruct. Ovadati, but to be instructed. They are being instructed. They are Ovadyamano is one monk, and Ovadyamana is a plural. So those new bhikkhus, the Nava bhikkhu, are Ovadhyamana, they are being instructed. Anusasyamana is the same, exhorted and instructed. Yeah. Yeah, that's the ending. Because it's
Mana is expressing the present participle.
exactly it's in the they are currently being instructed. Yeah. It's from Ovadati and Anusasati, exhort and instruct. And then Ularang Ubena Parang Visesang Jananti. They know literally Jananti. They know, they realize a kind of high. Ulara is like a excellent, high, successive. Pubenapara is the before and after, but it means like successively higher stages of this. I mean, distinction, attainment, some kind of realization.
Can you please read the next sentence as well, and then to be
Yeah.
back to Venerable Mahabodhi.
Tena Bhagava Tadahupusathe Pannarase Kumudiya Chatumasinya Punnaya Punnamaya Ratya Bhikkhu Sangha Parivuto Abhoka Sanisino Hoti. Okay, that's similar like before. It's just changing the time. So at that time, the Blessed One at the Uposatha day, Pannarasa, sometimes it's written Pannarasa, sometimes has dots under the N, but sometimes not. So I think there's a variant spelling here. Pannarasa, the 15th day of Uposatha, and it's the Komudi full moon. Chatumasinya Punaya Punamaya Ratya. So that's the 4 Chatumasa. Chatumasa is from 4 months. 4 months, and it's the Punami is the full moon basically. Yeah. So Punna means full, and Punama or Punami is the full moon. So that's what it is. The night that was full. And again, he was sitting surrounded in the open air by the Bhikkhu Sangha.
Ajahn, a question about the Kumudiya, Chatumasinya, Punnaya, Punna. They are all locative.
Ratya.
Also Ratya. They are all locative. Kumudiya, Chatumasinya, Punnaya, Punnamaya, Ratya. All these are locative, like in the previous. Yeah.
Let's see. Isn't it?
Yes, because Ratya is feminine.
It's feminine, exactly.
And so they are all these are qualifying the night. You know, it's the night of the full moon of Komudi of the 4 months. So all these locatives are basically qualifying Ratya, and they all take the locative case.
And it's a special use of the locative, like to mean time, because in this case you can also say in the night.
It also means time, but because so the adjective follows the declension of the noun, and the noun here could be the full moon as well, but they are qualifying all the noun night, right? And so because at the night, at that night, this is in the locative, and so all the qualifying adjectives will be in the locative. But please, Venerable, continue.
So I can read Atako Bhagawa Tunhibutan Bhikkhu Sangang Anuviloketva Bhikkhu Amantesi. Apalapayam Bhikkave Parisa Nippalapayam Bhikkave Parisa Suddha Sare Patittita. Okay. So what's this one? It's let's see. Atako is another idiomatic expression, like Evam Sutam or the other one. And but Atako means it's Ata. It means what means does then something similar. Then and ko it's emphatic. But in any case is then after then there is a yes the verb is amantesi. And also anuvi loketva. So if you look to amantesi, it's probably it's aorist, so it's past, and again third person singular. So the Bhagava and the subject that is doing the action that the verb express. The Bhagava addressed, but also the Bhagava before addressing id anuviloketva, that it's absolutive, and the absolutive have usually the function to introduce an action that comes before the rest. So before the rest of the sentence, or before another verb say and express another action. So the Bhagava, having done anuviloketva, so having looked or having having a look or to the Bhikkhu Sangha, having I don't know, look, it sounds not very having
That's good. Observed or looked
observe
over
the
or
Bhikkhu Sangha. And the Bhikkhu Sangha is there is Tunibutan that is something like probably an adjective or something similar. It is used like an adjective in any case. It's also the repetition means make the meaning that is quite silent stronger. So instead of just being the Bhikkhu Sangha being quite silent, it's really quiet, very quiet. So he observed the Bhikkhu Sangha, the very quiet Bhikkhu Sangha, and after having observed the Bhikkhu Sangha, he addressed them, the Bhikkhu Sangha. Āpālapāyam bhikkhave parisa. So Āpālapāya, I cannot remember.
Apalapa.
Āpālapa bhikkhave parisa nippalaya. One moment.
free from chatter, without idle talk.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe you remember the Pāli word tampapalapa, which means the idle chatter. It's from the same root.
So yes, bhikkhave that is vocative. So let's go to see the verb patihita is what I can see is patihita. It's a past participle. So he addressed the bhikkhu using the vocative. Bhikkhave is a vocative plural. It's to say, I remember they say it's a special form. Probably it's one they call Magadism, but no, I don't know if it's correct. I remember they say it's probably go back to directly to the dialect of the Magadha. It's something like remains from leftover from probably the real dialect that the Buddha was speaking. Bhikkhave. So he addressed the bhikkhu. Is this he said free from chatter, and parisa. Okay, yeah, this assembly. Yeah, the assembly. That's assembly. The assembly is free from chatter, and then again parisa. Yeah, is this the subject. And
Vipalapayam is the same meaning that
yeah,
free from chatter, just instead of no, the prefix is ni, but it means the same thing, free from idle talk, free from chatter. So he repeats the same thing,
yeah.
Free from chatter is disassembly, free from idle talk is disassembly.
Yeah. And then Suddha Patita is like a foundation. Ta something is the root is tit ta. Yes, found, based, something similar. Based, sare. Sare is probably locative, singular.
Yeah, so patita is grounded or established.
Sare is heart, something similar.
Established, and you're established in something.
In, yeah.
Meaning that it takes a locative.
Yeah.
So patita is established in the essence. Sare patita.
Yeah.
Sare patita established in the essence. And Sudha means pure.
Pure. Yeah. So altogether it means that yes, the assembly is free from chatter, free from idle chatter, and its essence is pure. It's
So
actually.
So Sudha is, you could put a comma here, that the assembly is pure. Like the assembly is pure, and the assembly is established in the essence.
Yeah.
Like this.
Sounds better.
Thank you.
Then someone want to try next
Ask your
line?
Italian brother. I haven't heard his voice today.
Who is here? Tita Pagno? Oh. Santa Cittadella Monastery. Okay. Who is Santa Cittadella Monastery?
Oh, you don't see us. There's Atanyu. Okay, Atanyu. The next one.
Okay. Santi bikawe biku imasming biku sange arahanto kinasawa usitawanto kataka raniya.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, do you want to try to?
Yes. So Santi there biku some bhikkhus in the sangha, something like that.
Yeah, that's a locative. Yeah. In this bhikkhu sangha.
Ahanto. So ahant, I guess.
Yeah, arahants. That's a plural form.
Is another ant noun like Bhagavant.
Yeah.
There's a Kinasawa. I don't know this one.
Those who destroyed the kilesa, the asava. So kina is exhausted or destroyed, and the asava, they destroyed the asava.
Yes, okay. So, Usitawanto.
Over here, completed.
Yeah, completed Katakaniya.
It's in the sutta, Katang Karaniyang na parang itataya. It's the common description of the arahant, like somebody who has destroyed the asava, who has lived the holy life, who has done what had to be done, or done the duty, Katakaraniya. Yeah. So that's all.
Karaniya is the optative, what needs to be done, what should be done, and kata is the past participle, just done. So done the thing to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Eva Rupapi Bhikkhave. Oh.
No, not yet. Santi bhikkhave, I can carry on. Santi bhikkhave bhikkhu imasming bhikkhu sanghe chattunnang satipattanang bhavana nuyoga manuyutta viharanti. There are bhikkhus, such bhikkhus in this bhikkhu sangha who are now viharanti. So they dwell. Chattunang satipattanang, Bhavana, Anuyoga, Anuyutta. So they are yoked, literally, they are like connected. Anuyutta means to be yoked or connected to something, but here it means like devoted to something, to be practicing something. And they are practicing the bhavana, the development, basically, of the 4 satipatthanas, 4 foundations of mindfulness. Yeah. So Chattunang Satipattanang Anuyutta. So they are dwelling, devoted to the development of the 4 Satipatthanas, 4 foundations of mindfulness. To be a what is it? I think it's a genitive. Chattunang Satipattanam, plural. Yeah, the 4 Satipatthanas. Okay. And then it just ends with Eva rupapi bhikkhave santi bhikkhu imasmin bhikkhu sanghe. So such Eva rupa api. So Eva rupa means such like, of such form, naturally, of such form. But we would say api, yeah. So also of such form, of such type, there are the bhikkhus in this bhikkhu sangha. Okay. Oh yeah, and then it's repeated, like, so we don't have to do it individually, but it goes through all the what I call the wings to awakening, right? The Bodhipakya
Right,
Dhamma.
we should recognize what this list is.
Yeah, Bodhipakya Dhamma. So wings to awakening. They're actually never named like that in the suttas, but later I think they are called the.
I did find that reference.
Bodhipakya.
I think it's in
Bodhipakya
Udana.
Dhamma.
I think somewhere in the Udana it might be. Sometimes it's called Bodhipakika Dhamma. So the things that lead to bodhi, to enlightenment, and pakya means like on the side, or it can mean the wing of a bird, I think. So that's why Thanissaro calls it wings to awakening.
Yes, but we should comment on it that this is a standard list that are like the central toolkit of development that the Buddha has taught. And so in these cases where he is referring to his whole method of mental development, then he always goes through this same list. Is that you have the 4 satipatthana, you have the
4 right efforts.
4 right efforts, that's right. The roads to success, the 5 spiritual faculties, the 5 powers, the 7 bojjhangas, and the 8-fold path. And this is a standard list that he will frequently repeat in these cases. And then he concludes with that there are bhikkhus who in this sangha who are cultivating, who are devotedly developing these factors.
Yeah. And then it goes even further to the 4 Brahma Viharas. So
that's right. So we have, what are the other qualities of the teaching? The Metta Bhavana, Karuna Bhavana, Mudita Bhavana, Upekka Bhavana, Asubha, Anicca Sanya. So this is, I think it's always interesting, what is included in these lists. It's like not taking for granted that it's always just, I've seen these words before, but notice that these are particularly selected for highlighting that these are practices that go together. And you practice the 4 Brahma Viharas, very good, but also Asubha and Anicca Sanya. Don't leave them out.
Yeah. Well, each one of these words request probably a class for itself. to
That's right.
present.
You could explore either of these terms,
Yeah.
with
Very-
several examples from the suttas. And then in the end, the last thing he mentions is that in this bhikkhu sangha, there are bhikkhus who are cultivating Ānāpānassati, like Ānāpānassati, who are yoked to devoted to the development of Ānāpānassati.
Mhm.
And so now we come to the section that some of you might have memorized already.
Yeah, now then start what is in our chanting book. Someone else want to start with the chanting?
Yeah, Jantita Panyo hasn't done it.
Okay. John?
Ānāpānassati bhikkhave bhavita bahulikata mahapala oti maha nisangsa.
Okay.
Mindfulness of breathing, O bhikkhus, developed, made much of, and then hoti is, and then great mahapala, great fruit, and maha nisangsa, great benefit.
Okay.
So you can see that the endings are all like feminine, bhavita, bahulikata, because sati is a feminine noun. Yeah. And also
So
the other thing
it is
is
Ānāpānassati, right? This
Right.
is what you want to say, that it's the sati.
Exactly.
Sati here, this is feminine.
Right.
Right, and all these nouns, they are qualifying this. Then that's why they are in the feminine form.
Because they are
Ānāpānassati,
adjective.
They are Ānāpānassati, bhavita, bahulikata. Yeah, really. It's cultivated, it's made much of, it's with great fruit, great benefit, because sati is feminine. And Ānāpānassati, sometimes it's written with one single S, and sometimes because it's a compound, then in the compounds often the where the second word begins, then it's sometimes doubled. So the first S becomes double S, but it depends on the manuscript. Some of them have only single S. Okay. Next one, Ajahn Ditapanyo, maybe continue.
Okay. Ānāpānassati bhikkhave bhavita bahulikata chatar satipatthane paripureti. Ānāpānassati, O bhikkhus, developed, made much of, fulfills the four foundations of mindfulness.
That's right. So Chattaro Satipatthana here must be the. Is it? I wonder if it's locative or if it's the. No, I think this will be Sattabhujange Vijavimuting accusative. I think it's in the
It's
accusative.
plural accusative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Paripureti.
Exactly, because it's the object of the sentence. Yes. Yeah, you fill water somewhere into something. Mm-hmm.
It fulfills.
Fulfills. That's right.
Fulfills.
And what about the word satipatthana? It's a compound, Ajahn.
Exactly, it's the same. Satipatthana. If you could expect also similarly the P to be doubled, Satipatthana. And there are similar cases, but in this case it's just the same one. So Patthana is like a foundation or something like that for the sati, for mindfulness. Or this is the establishing of mindfulness. Right. And then Sattaro Satipatthana Bhavita Bahulikata Satta Bojjhange Paripurenti. So here Paripurenti must be plural because now it's the four foundations of mindfulness that are the agent that are doing the action. That's why they fulfill. And when they are developed and cultivated, then they fulfill the 7 factors of awakening, Satta Bojjhanga.
So Ānāpānassati fulfills
Mhm.
4 Satipatthana. 4 Satipatthana fulfills 7 factors.
That's right. And then it continues. Then the 7 factors of awakening, when they are developed and cultivated, they fulfill Vijja and Vimutti. That's the knowledge and liberation. And that's again in the accusative because it's the object of the action. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll continue. Katang bhavita cha bhikkave Ānāpānassati katang bahulikata mahappala hoti mahānisangsa. So how developed katang how developed how is mindfulness developed? Because how is it made much of? Like again, kata, bahuli kata, bahu much, kata done, much done. How is it much done? So that it bears great fruit, mahappala, and its great benefit, maha anisangsa.
I continue this.
Mm-hmm.
Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu aranyakatowa rukkamulakatowa sunyakharakatowa nisidati palankatma puchitowa uchungkayang panidaya parimukhang sating upatapetwa.
Okay, can you identify some word there?
Uchungkayang, body erect.
Yeah.
Nisithati palankang.
That's right.
Nisithati.
So that's the verb. Right. He sits down.
And
Nisidati sits down in the palankang, is the cross-legged.
cross-legged.
Yeah. Palankang abuchitva means to sit cross-legged. Ujungkayang panidhaya. Panidhaya means panidhati means like a direction, like you put some direction to something. Panidhi means like aspiration actually. So having directed the body upright. Exactly. And parimukhang sating upatapetva. So this is where the satipatthana, this is the verb, So upatapeti means to establish the mindfulness. Having established mindfulness, parimukham. Now this word is there's long definitions in the commentaries and in the Abhidhamma and everywhere. What does it actually mean? So literally around the mouth, parimukha. But mukha can have different meanings. It can be more than just the mouth. It can mean the whole face, or somewhere is defined like the chest also, or just in the front of the body actually. So it's kind of unclear exactly where the sati should be established.
You have to tell us the one meaning that is true and everything else is wrong, Ajahn.
Yes. This is what the big wars about mindfulness were about in the 1950s or 1960s between the belly watching and the nose watching meditators in Burma.
Yes, only one must be true. Everything else must be false.
Yeah. And the beginning is still Ajahn Gongrit. You can still identify where is he sitting.
Aranyakatoa, gone to Kato, go, gone to the forest.
Yeah.
Lukamula Katoa, to the Lukamula. Lukamula is the fruit of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunyakara Katoa, an empty hut.
Mm-hmm. Empty building or something. Agara. Yeah.
Like a Chibet Sala, for example.
Very nice. Yeah. It can be anything. Agara can be a kind of empty house. Very good. And this one. So, maybe Atanyu here. Can you read? So,
Satowa asati Satowa pasasati. Okay, so
What?
so breathe in and breathe out.
so is what?
So is
It doesn't mean so like in English.
no.
It means he. He.
Yes,
the bhikkhu.
yes.
So he does what? This is the verb asasati.
You breathe in,
Breathing in, and pasasati, breathing out. And then sato eva, and sato eva. It just means, the eva means he is just mindful, or he's being just mindful. Mm-hmm.
I heard some teachers say Patsa is out,
Yeah.
is in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, there are two ways of interpreting. I think it's the commentary to the Abhidhamma says one thing, and the commentary to the Sutta says another thing. So yeah, we don't know. Do you first breathe out or do you first breathe in? I don't know. It's like the chicken and egg.
When you're born, the first breath must be in.
Oh, but some people
when you die, the last breath must be out.
Okay.
So you have to start with breathing in and you have to end with breathing out.
All right. Good. So maybe Ajahn Titapanya, can you read the next?
Okay. Digang wa asas santo digang asasami ti pajanati digang wa pasanto digang pasasami ti pajanati. So the verb is pajanati, so he understands. It's like he understands. Maybe go long, something like he understands, and then go like long when breathing long.
So it's in the comma. It's like a sentence. It's like a thought almost, because in Pāli it's always formulated. You can see these quotation marks there. Dighang asasami.
Oh yeah.
But it's almost like you could say like he thinks I am breathing in.
He thinks I'm breathing long when breathing long. Breathing long, he thinks I'm breathing in long.
But it's normally he thinks, but in this case, of course, just he understands, right?
He understands. He understands breathing in long. I am breathing in long. He understands breathing out long. I am breathing out long. Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the asasanta, that's what Zingonbiro typed there. So it's again being one who is breathing in while breathing in. That means asasanta and pasasanta and then here it's yeah, exactly. Yeah. This indicates always some action that is happening right now.
While breathing in, he knows I am breathing in, and it's either long or short, right?
Okay.
Pajana in know or understand.
Yeah, no pajanati. Usually just no understanding.
So this is the contrast is maybe more clear if you compare it that in this case the verb is the action is pajanati, knows or understands. But after this stage, the verb is sikati, he trains. And so the difference is that to train in something is an active, you're making something happen. While pajanati, you're recognizing something, you know something by perceiving that this is happening. And so at the beginning, he establishes his mindfulness on recognizing what's going on. Is the breath long or short? And after that, he starts training and using the breath to cultivate.
Okay. So this kind of passive knowing form is only in the beginning, really, and then it starts from the sabakaya patisangvedi asasisami tisikati. So I will breathe in asasisami. So we have it's a kind of complicated word. Asasami is like I am breathing, and asasisami is I will breathe in. Yeah, this is a future form.
Right,
And
so issa is the future, and ami is for the first person.
Right. Yeah.
I will breathe in. So there's an intentionality expressed here that you determine what you're going to train yourself in, and calming the sabbakaya patisangvedi is experiencing the entire body. I will breathe in. You decide this. You train yourself like that.
Right. So that's the point at which. So this is again the other kind of disagreements on meditation, and you will see different teachers claiming this or that, and so. But the ones that say that you should actually actively kind of try to scan the body or explore the body or spread the breathing into the whole body, they will refer to this passive because there is a definite kind of intention there to include like the whole body. But some will say, according to the commentary in Visuddhimagga, that sabakaya here means the whole body of the breath, which means the full, you're just staying focused on your nose, and the full length of the in-breath and the out-breath is called sabakaya, the whole body. That's one interpretation. But of course, the more obvious interpretation would be that it's actually refers to the physical body.
Later in the sutta, I didn't include that part, but the Buddha starts describing, what does he mean by all these stages, and when he talks about training kaya, like kaya gata sati, mindfulness occupied with the body, the first part of satipatthana, then he talks about this part and describes observing physical sensations and processes in the body. So that seems fairly straightforward to me.
Yeah.
From the experienced meditator, that what I heard from Longpo Buddhadasa or from Longpo Sankaraja, he explained that both physical body and the breath.
So they include both. Okay.
Well, you're experiencing it, no? And so this difference in explanation could be that what is your instruction going to focus on? You're going to focus on giving instruction to the body, or you're going to focus on giving instruction to experiencing the body. And so if you're experiencing the whole body, then the whole breath becomes the whole body, right? So I think that, you know, this is where these different explanation could come from. And if if you're applying the two different instructions in the correct way, then you're doing the same thing. But let's continue with the term. So Pasangbayang Kaya Sankarang, so calming the body conditioner.
Yeah, this was somebody's translation. Calming, pacifying, settling the bodily formation. Yes. Bodily formation. So the breath is the bodily formation, the factor that influences the rest of the body. Depending on how we breathe, then it can change your emotion and everything else, but the whole body gets affected by that, by breathing.
And for Ajahn Buddhadasa, he said that is you can earn jhana from this state. So,
Yes, that's right. He says the first. So this is the first four. The first, what do they call? The four sections. So he says you can jump from here directly to the end, like yeah, that you don't have to actually go through all the 16 steps one by one. Again, there are different approaches, but it could be just like one satipatthana, the kaya Ānāpānassatisutta. That would be the first one here. Okay.
So cultivating piti, joy or rapture, he breathes in and breathes out. Cultivating happiness, sukha, he breathes in, breathes out. Now, chitta sankara. How I want to show a note about this, but I would like to listen to what you might have to say, Ajahn.
Yeah, it's what is called chitta sankara. You have to look elsewhere in the suttas, but obviously this is dealing with Vedana. We are entering the second section of Satipatthana, which is Vedananupassana, the observing of feelings. So here, feelings, Vedana, would be referred to as a chitta sankara. I think the factor that is influencing the chitta, the mind. But it's of course Vedana and Sanya usually is also perception and feeling.
I think the rapture itself is the formation of the chitta at the moment.
Yeah.
When we meditate, when rapture comes, we can see that it affects everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's right. And so that rapture is conditioning the mind, like the chitta sankara, something that is a preparation, conditioner, a formation for the mind. I looked at what definition we might find for chitta sankara. And here we have in the Chula Vedala, Majjhima 44, Bhikkhuni Dhammadinna is explaining to Visakha about what are kaya sankara, what are bodily formations. And so Dhammadinna says it's in and out breaths. These things are tied with the body. That's why they are body fabrications. So, and then, what is conditions for, what is fabrication for verbal actions. And so she responds, it's thoughts, and this is Ajahn Thanissaro's translation. He wants thoughts and evaluation, his translation for Vitakka Vichara. Right, then the result of that is that you start talking after thinking and evaluating, and that's why it's a Vachi Sankara. And so for Chitta Sankara, Sanya, Vedana, Cetasika, that perceptions and feelings are mental, connected with the mind, tied up with the mind. citta patisambhada. Therefore, perceptions and feelings are conditioning the mind or mental fabrications. Like this is a good definition for why citta sankhara here is used in this context, is that the perceptions that you cultivate, the feelings that you feel, they are influencing your citta, the emotional aspect of your mentality. And so next one is pasangbayang, is calming the citta sankhara. And then we move on to experiencing the citta patisangvedi. So here, Ajangavesako, you remember when we talked about the different terms for we had a long discussion on terms around the mind. Like which one was that? Like
Yes.
this one here, mano, citta, vijnana, sangha. And we tried to distinguish between mano and citta. And a useful distinction you made there is that citta is affected by emotion, raga, dosa, moha.
Yes.
Right, and so the experiencing the citta is experiencing, noticing what sort of state the citta is in, what kind of emotional content there is in the citta, or what kind of background activity is there which is giving rise to the types of thoughts that you might be thinking.
Yes.
Do you want to dwell on this, or shall we move on?
I think it just says the third tetrad, which is the Cittanupassana, observing the mind. How is it different? I think it's also in the Satipatthana Sutta, isn't it? Like this, the mind is like this is contracted or expansive. What is like the quality of the mind, rather than focusing on the particular feeling that was the previous case. But here is like more like the general quality of the mind. So here is, I will train myself gladdening the mind. That's the second one. Abhipamodayam. Abhipamodayam it's from pamoja. Pamoja means like gladness. Abhipamodayam, and then samadaham means focusing the mind. And then vimochayam is liberating the mind. In this case, somebody said it doesn't necessarily mean like full liberation, but in this case it could mean like going through the process of like jhana, like taking the mind from a lower stage to a higher stage. You liberate it from certain obstructions, like you drop the thinking and pondering, or you drop certain coarse elements, and then you liberate it, and it can go into a higher level.
So regarding with what kind of thing is liberating the mind, a useful phrase that was helpful for me is where your mind is not liberated, is that your mind is overwhelmed and controlled, or something invades your mind. Cittang pariyadaya tittati. That's something.
You have a mistake. Pariyadaya.
That's right. Pariyadaya. That's something like a thought or a feeling or some kind of story you have invades the minds and stays. This is the description of your mind not being liberated.
That's it. Yeah.
And so when your contemplation and your cultivating, if that breaks that, if that frees you from that, then you are liberating the mind. Then you're opening it up, you're leaving it behind, and it's the way, for example, the Buddha instructs Venerable Rahula about how he can leave behind the essential thoughts that he's experiencing is anicca dukkha anatta.
It means that in this, our mind can be very active, either gladdening or fasting or liberating from our own the emotion.
Yeah, I think any kind of particular state, it doesn't mean the like full liberation to be an arahant at this stage, you know. It's just because it comes from vimucchati is to liberate, and vimochayang is like doing that action. Samadhang is focusing, vimochayang releasing. You could say releasing rather than liberating, you know, releasing it from something particular problem. And then the last Anicca-Ānāpānassatisutta, that corresponds to the fourth Pratrat, Satipatthana.
That's right. How do you liberate the mind? You liberate it by impermanence, dispassion, and cessation. Brilliant.
Yeah, so that's Anicca-Ānāpānassatisutta. So Ānāpānassatisutta means to like follow along, observe, you know, like following along and observing. So observing, Anu means like along. So you're kind of observing impermanence, and then you're observing dispassion and cessation and relinquishment. Yeah.
You're observing these qualities. Like passati is seeing, passi is the inflect is its form, and anupassi, like observing, following what? Following impermanence, observing, following dispassion, fading away, observing, following cessation, and relinquishment or release or abandoning.
Patinissagga, yes. This, I think Ajahn Buddhadasa, he has a good comments on these for the last four. I think he says the Patinissagga is like returning it to nature or something like that. He calls it like, because it's from, you know, like we have Nisagya offense. So it's the same word. Nisajjati means to give up something. You have to relinquish something. Patinissagga is like thoroughly, completely giving up. So he says all these things that we kind of grasp, you know, in this, you learn how to give them up.
He might use the Atamayata as well.
That's right. Yeah.
He used the word, I don't want you any longer.
I don't want to mess with this any longer, something like that.
Yeah.
Atamayata, not being made of this. Okay, so, and there is a summary at the end. Maybe, Atanyu, can you read Evang?
Ewan bawitako bikawe anapanasati ewan bauli kata mahapala hoti mahanisansa. Thus, cultivating that way.
Yes, thus developed, thus cultivated.
Bhikkhu, because Ānāpānassatisutta, thus Baulika is
made much of.
made much of Greek has much fruits.
Yeah, it has great fruits and great results.
Yes.
Okay. And then
in this section, I skipped over a long explanation where the Buddha is going to explain that, you know, which part of Ānāpānassati cultivates the four foundations of mindfulness. And so this is where he goes into that Kaya-Kaya-Anupassati, you know, which part of Ānāpānassati relates to cultivating bodily mindfulness, which part is observing, cultivating mindfulness of feelings. And then in Citta-Nupassana, there's an interesting phrase that he uses. That's why I wanted to highlight this. So when he arrives here, chitte chittanupassi bhikkave tasaming samaye bhikkhu viharati ātāpi sampajano satima vineya loke abhijjado manassang. So chitte chittanupassi. So observing anupassi, following along the chitta, the mind. Tasaming samaye, in that time, a bhikkhu, so the bhikkhu who is practicing, he is dwelling, he is staying, he is ātāpi sampajano. Ātāpi is like zealous, energetic, ardent. Sampajana is he's mindful, he's aware, and Satima is from Satimanto, he is mindful, and so he is Vineya Loke Abhijjado Manassang. That abandoning, so Vineya here, don't confuse the Aya with the optative. So here this is a gerund form. Vineti is like driving out or abandoning or giving up the pleasure and displeasure in the world.
In these four, หลวงพ่อสมเด็จสังฆราชาhe call อุปถัมภะปฏิปติ
Like a supporting practice.
Supporting practice. Everything you need to have this. Ātāpi, ardent, sampajano, fully aware, satima, mindful, and then like the abandoned like and dislike in the world.
That's right. Giving up likes and dislikes. Yeah.
Like
and then the Buddha's comment is that Nahang Bhikkave Buddhasattissa Asangpajanassa Ānāpānassating vadami. Is that because I say that there is no Ānāpānassati for one who has forgotten mindfulness. So somebody who there's no such thing. So without mindfulness, there's no Ānāpānassati. And
it's actually Muthasati is often translated like sort of confused mindfulness, of somebody who is like kind of so forgetful, and asampajana, again, unaware, somebody who is unaware. So muthasatissa asampajanassa, meaning for the person who is one of confused mindfulness and who is unaware, not clearly aware.
And so these are dative here, like for
exactly
for one who has modeled mindfulness, for one who is unaware. Not refers to, for him there is no Ānāpānassati.
No, it's actually not Navadami. Should be the arrow, I think, should go to Vadami all the way. Because it's like I say Ahang Vadami means I say that this happens, but if you put Na, then it negates the whole sentence. So I don't say that it's possible to have, it's always formulated like that in Pāli.
Yes, it's very unidiomatic in English. In English, you would start the sentence, "There's no such thing," and you put it in another form, right?
Yeah.
But I thought this was, he stopped here to make this comment that you're practicing this awareness, then this clears your awareness, this brightens, focuses the mind. For somebody who is confused, unaware, there's no Ānāpānassati.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he continues with the fourth satipatthana. So dhamme su dhammanupassi bhikkave tasameng samaye bhikkhu viharati ātāpi sampajano satima vineya loke abhijjado manassang. So when observing mental qualities, bhikkhus, at that time, a bhikkhu is dwelling, a bhikkhu is dwelling, ardent, zealous, resolute, he's mindful, sampajano, and mindful, and he has abandoned like and dislike in the world. And his comment here is that so yang tang abhijja domanassanang pahanang tang panyaya disava sadhukam ajjupekita hoti. Ajanga Vesako, can you help us break this down?
So yang tang. So this is complicated sentence. So yang tang. So is he. So the bhikkhu. Panyaya disva, having seen with wisdom. Panyaya disva.
So panyaya here is gerund.
Yes, so that's
so it's not I put the different, so it's the same form as panyaya, feminine, by wisdom, but here this is from pajanati, so this is with knowing.
Okay, having known.
Knowing, having seen.
Having seen,
so
having
panyaya,
known.
Knowing, having seen.
But that is referring to the beginning. Yang tang abhijja domanassanang pahanang. So that which is the abandoning of covetousness and dejection. Abhijja domanassa. It's called liking, disliking. So that which is yang tang means that which is the pahana, the abandoning of liking and disliking. Tang panyaya disva, knowing that, knowing and having seen it through wisdom. Sadhukam
Tang refers to the earlier section. So you could put, that's right.
So the abandoning, right? So that having seen through wisdom is well observed, is well contemplated. So ajjupekita hoti. It is hoti.
Ajjupeka here is, I think, inner equanimity.
It's adhi plus upeka, basically, So it becomes adhi plus upeka is contracted into ajjupekati. This comes up in other suttas when, for example, the simile of the goldsmith, the gold purifier, when he's like purifying the gold and he looks at it from a distance. So it actually upekati is just means observing or looking at. We have it connected with equanimity, but that meaning is it's a bit of an interpretation. So here it just means observing, really, yeah. So ajjupekati means to step back from something and observe it.
So he is well observing.
Yeah, well, sadhukang
is something that is well done or well practiced, and but I thought this was interesting for, what does it, when do you know that you're doing this correctly? That liking and dislike has been abandoned through knowing. You know that you have abandoned liking and dislike, and this qualifies, what does it mean that now your observing of mental phenomena is in the correct manner?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Otherwise you can make all kinds of claims, I was aware, I knew what was going on, and no, my friend, no, you didn't.
Yeah. So upeka is really that ability to stand back and observe something. That meaning of equanimity, which means something like balanced, and that we add that as an explanation, but literally it's from upa and ikati. Ikati means to look, and upa ikati, to look at something, and here it has another adhi prefix. Adhi plus upa. becomes ajupekati. Sort of means you have to look at other contexts in the suttas, but it's often used to, as a kind of quality of just like standing back and observing something in your practice, evaluating maybe.
Thank you. That was very useful. And so then he continues with explaining that the four foundations, they fulfill the 7 factors, Satta Bojjhange Paripuranti. And he starts explaining how the 7 factors fulfill knowledge and liberation. Like this is what was the promise in the beginning, is that if you practice this, then that fulfills 4 factors, which fulfills 7 factors, which fulfills knowledge and liberation. That was the promise. And so here we get a bit more detail on what does it mean that there is this knowledge and liberation. And ida bhikkhave bhikkhu satisang bojjhangam bhaveti viveka nissitang viraga nissitang nirodha nissitang vosagga parimani. So that here bhikkhus, so addressing them, a bhikkhu satisang bojjhangam bhaveti. He bhaveti here recognize that the a is here for a causative, and so he makes causes to develop. Right? So this is not developing happening on its own. He is working on it. And so there's a strong intentionality in you're using Ānāpānassati with the purpose to develop the 7 factors and the others, and how, what, and then he qualifies what are the supporting factors of this, what are necessary for this, what does it depend on. Nissita means something that is dependent on, relying on, based on, and so it's dependent on viveka, which is seclusion, on viraga, which is fading away or dispassion, dependent on nirodha, the cessation of mental phenomena, cessation of observing cessation, and this cultivation, this reaches maturity or reaches completion in complete letting go. Vosagga is like complete abandoning.
Vosagga is similar to the patinisagga. It's the same root. It's just used in a different context here. It's kind of relinquishing. Yeah.
Sometimes they use interchangeable with nibbana.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Vosagga is a much stronger sense of abandoning than pahana. So it usually relates to something close to nibbana, something that is relates to the fulfillment of the path.
In Thai we use interchangeable. Sometimes we use in terms of nibbana.
Cut off.
Aramana.
So here with this term, so Vosagga parimaning.
That's it. Yeah.
Vosagga parimaning, fulfillment, maturity of surrender and letting go. And so what what type of letting go this is? The same quality is used for how the jhanas are developed. So it's the kind of letting go that leads, the kind of surrender that leads to jhanas, for example. That is useful. And the definition for cultivating the jhana is that, what is samadhindriya, what is a faculty of concentration, is that a noble disciple taking the sign of surrender, letting go, release as his object. And that thereby he gains samadhi, thereby he gains unity of mind, unification of mind. And then with Vijja Vimutting, what is it's knowledge and liberation. But what do you know and what are you liberated from? What is the knowledge gained and what is the liberation from? And a good summary of this is in this sutta, in the Samyutta Nikaya, where somebody is asking the Buddha, this is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation, as that if somebody asks you what is the purpose of the holy life, then you should respond that it is the abandoning of the fetters, it is the abandoning of the uprooting the anusaya, it is for Ānāpānassatisutta. I don't understand that term. Are you familiar with it, Ajanga Vesako?
Yeah, he calls it the course. Adhana just means like the path. It's like magga. Yeah.
So the way things happen.
No, it's like more the way, understanding the whole path.
Like you're talking about the Eightfold Path then.
I think it's another term for it.
Anyway, so asava kaya, so the destruction of the taints, and so this is where Vijja Vimutti comes in, is realization, satchikiriyatang, so realizing in a personal experience the fruit, the phala of knowledge and liberation. And so this is why, and then the last one is for the sake of Jnanadassanang, knowledge and vision. And so the way this explains Vijja Vimutti is that when there's a repeating definitions like this, then it means that these terms explain each other. So what is that knowledge and liberation? It's the knowledge and the liberation in terms of destruction of the taints, in terms of understanding the path, in terms of abandoning the tendencies, in terms of, right?
Okay.
There's not much left. Let's finish the sutta.
So it's all the bojjhanga. He goes through the 7 factors of awakening: Dhammavicaya, Viriya, Piti, Passaddhi, Samadhi, Upekkha, and they are all qualified. They are dependent on viveka of seclusion, dispassion, cessation, and relinquishment, abandoning.
That's right, and this is useful to find these definitions in terms of filtering out wrong explanations of the teaching. Like there's meditation instruction, for example, when somebody is giving people exercises for getting calmer and peaceful, and it will include like listening to music or fantasizing about peaceful places, and that's very good for maybe just reducing their anxiety, but it's not the kind of development that we're talking about, because it has to be viveka-nissitang, viraga-nissitang, right?
Yeah, where is it leading towards? Yeah. And then at the end, so the 7 bojjhangas developed in this way, they fulfill knowledge and liberation. And then that's what the Blessed One said, and the bhikkhus were delighted in his words. Yeah.
Attamanati bhikkhu bhagavato bhasitak abhinandunti. They were delightful. They delighted. They appreciated the discourse.
Maybe abhinandunti. It's I would put an apostrophe there.
Yes, that's right. So they delighted like that.
Abhinandunti. Yeah, it's not the exactly like this. Wow, that's a good one.